Good morning, everyone. Let's do some prayers and then we'll have our general topic today. Om Guru Brahma, Guru Vishnu, Guru Devo Maheshwara, Guru Sakshat Parbrahma, Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha. Om Bhur Bhavaswaha, Tatsavitravarenyam, Bhargo Devasya Dhimahi, Dhiyo Yo Nah Prachodayat, Astoma Satgamya, Tamsoma Jyotirgamya, मृत्योर्मृतं गम्य ओम सहनावतु सहनौ भुनक्तु सवीर्यं कर्वावहि तेजस्विनावधीतमस्तु मा विद्विषावहि ओम शांति 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 From Bhagavad Gita, we are all familiar with this shloka where Lord Krishna says, Yada yada hi dharmasya ग्लानिर्भवति भारत अभ्युत्थानम धर्मस्य तदात्मनम सृजाम्यहम्. And the continuation of this shalok into the next one is Paritranaya sadhunam vinashaya cha dushkritam dharma sanstapna arthaya sambhavami yuge yuge. What does it mean? For the protection of the good, for the destruction of the evildoers, and for the sake of firmly establishing dharma, righteousness, he says, I am born from age to age. That means again and again I come over here. So this is a Vedic truth. This is Sanatan Dharma. God can take any form. God can appear anywhere. We all know that Bhagavan Shri Ram was the seventh incarnation of Lord Vishnu in this Chatur Yuga. Okay, so Yuga means in every yuga I come. And the cycle of the yugas also is ongoing. So Bhagwan Shri Ram, the seventh incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and the life story of Shri Ram was the main purpose of his incarnation to destroy the demon king Ravan. And that's what he said, Lord Krishna. Vinashaya cha dushkritam. And the whole story is described in the great epic Ramayana. We all know that Bhagwan Ram's wife Sita is revered as an incarnation of Goddess Lakshmi, the divine consort of Lord Vishnu. So they both come again and again to protect. They go through the hardships. For whose sake? For our sake. They teach us the lessons. Ram is a symbol of an ideal man, as conceived by the Hindu mind. Ideal. In the epic Ramayana, Ram's personality and actions depict him as the perfect son, devoted brother, a true husband, trusted friend, ideal king, and a noble adversary. And Sita is the symbol of an ideal daughter, wife, mother, and queen. Whereas Ram symbolizes standards of perfection that can be conceived in all the facets of a person's life, Sita represents all that is great and noble in womanhood. In images and pictures, Ram is shown carrying a bow and arrow. The bow and arrow convey that Ram is always ready to destroy evil and protect righteousness. He is himself an embodiment of dharma. Worship of Shri Ram is popular among all Hindus, as is evident by the numerous temples dedicated to him in India. Numerous means you can't even count them. How many temples are there? And these are the temples I'm talking about, which are public temples, but in our own homes also, we have temples where we install the picture or the statue of Lord Ram. In the temple images, Ram is usually shown with his faithful wife, Sita, devoted brother Lakshman, and his beloved devotee Hanuman. In the epic Ramayana, Hanuman is a hero. Hanuman aids Ram in rescuing his wife and battling Ravan, who was the abductor of Sita. On the other hand, Bhagwan Shri Krishna, because as I said, God comes again and again. Shri Krishna is the eighth and the most popular incarnation of Lord Vishnu. Of all incarnations, Shri Krishna is accepted as a full and complete incarnation, which is called a Puran Avatar of Lord Vishnu. That means at that time, he had to bring all those powers and show those powers also to get rid of the evil. Shri Krishna commands love, respect, and adoration from Hindus of all ages and walks of life. This universal appeal is unique and present only in the life and teachings of Shri Krishna. The details of Krishna's childhood as well as the youth are elaborated in devotional literature such as Bhagavad Puran, Harivansh and Vishnu and Padam Purans. And the epic Mahabharata depicts Krishna only as an adult. He is depicted as the teacher of the Bhagavad Gita to Arjuna. And he is shown as a friend, advisor, and a charioteer of Arjuna in the Mahabharata war. So this Mahabharata epic does not include the details of Lord Krishna's childhood. So if we have to know the childhood stories, we got to read those Purans. Krishna, the eighth incarnation of Lord Vishnu, and the eighth child of his parents, was born at midnight in a prison on the eighth day of the dark fortnight of Bhadrapad, which is like August and September months. His father, Vasudeva. His mother, Devaki. Devaki was a sister of King Kansa. They both were imprisoned by Kansa, an evil king of Mathura. Kans was a cruel, oppressive, and arrogant king who terrorized the kingdom. Kans had been told by astrologers that he would be killed by a son born to his own sister, Devaki. Kans imprisoned his sister and her husband in order to keep an eye on every child that would be born to them. He killed the first 7 children of his sister soon after they were born. At the time Krishna was born, the prison guards fell asleep and Vasudev managed to escape from prison, and he took infant Krishna to Gokul, where Krishna was exchanged for a baby girl born to Yashoda and Nanda. Vasudev returned to prison with a baby girl. When Kans was informed by his prison guards that a girl, not a boy, was born to Devaki, Kans decided to kill the girl anyway. He grabbed the girl in his hands and tried to kill her by striking her against the ground. The girl slipped away from his hands and flew into the sky, announcing, "Kans, the savior of the earth, is already born and will kill you soon." When Kans heard this, he ordered that all newly born babies be killed in his kingdom. He sent the most powerful demons and the demonesses to accomplish this mission. Krishna was raised in Gokul by the cowherd family of Yashoda and Nanda. His childhood was full of dangers because Kans made every effort to have him killed. Even when he was only a little child, Krishna killed all the demons and demonesses that were ordered to kill him. Eventually, Krishna killed Kans, thus fulfilling the purpose of his incarnation. And all other incarnations of God, because there have been many, descended on earth, illustrate the divine aspect of the human personality. But Krishna's incarnation represents the human dimension of the divine. So in stories of Krishna, he is depicted as a common person, wise and mischievous, happy and sad, laughing and crying, loving and hating, promising and deceiving also, and enjoying and suffering. All those dualities. Whereas the Ramayana and Mahabharata illustrate the stories of Brahmins and Kshatriyas, who were considered the elite in the ancient society, the stories of Krishna depict the common people of ancient India. Cowherd men and women, their ambitions, their aspirations, conflicts, and also the religious and the social problems also. So symbolically, Krishna is the manifestation of the nameless and formless Brahma in a human form. The popular images and pictures of Krishna show him with a blue complexion and wearing yellow clothes. The blue color symbolizes infinity, and the yellow color denotes earth. So the two colors together convey that Krishna is the infinite consciousness that has descended on earth to take a human form. Krishna is usually depicted as playing a flute. Flute symbolizes the human body, and its holes represent the mind, senses, and intellect. Krishna represents the consciousness. So the music produced by the flute represents the functioning of the body or its sentience. Krishna playing the flute and producing music illustrates that the body, mind, senses, and the intellect are inert in the absence of the consciousness. They become functional only when the consciousness resides in the body. So it is the pure self in the body that expresses itself through the mind, intellect, and senses and produces the music of life. You can see that Ram and Krishna are the two most venerable incarnations of Hinduism. That's why there are more temples of Ram and Krishna. However, their lives are in sharp contrast to each other. And some of the incidents of their lives are diametrically opposite. Let me give you just a few examples to show this. Ram was born during broad daylight. Where? In the palace at Ayodhya. While Krishna was born at midnight in a prison in Mathura. Ram was the first child of his parents who had performed religious rites and rituals in order to bear a child. Krishna was the 8th child of his parents, who, because of King Kansa's vow to kill all their children, were not eager to have another child. So they didn't want to have children. And Dashrath, the father of Ram, he went through all those yajnas to have children because he couldn't have children. Ram was of fair complexion, whereas Krishna was of dark complexion. We are all familiar with that. As a child, Ram was brought up in the royal luxury of the palace. Krishna, on the other hand, lived in a cowherd village under constant danger from his own uncle, King Kansa. What a contrast. As a child, Ram lived in nobility. And in his adult years, he lived as a commoner. We are all familiar with that 14 years of exile. But Krishna lived as a commoner in his childhood, and in adult years, he lived in a nobility. Ram had trouble living a peaceful life, even with one woman, his own wife Sita. And Krishna, on the other hand, no trouble living a peaceful life with many women around him. Ram's wife Sita was taken away from him by Ravan, whereas Krishna forcibly took Rukmani, who wanted to marry Krishna, against her parents' wishes from her parents and married her. Rukmani was Krishna's first wife. Ram belonged to the solar dynasty, whereas Krishna belonged to the lunar dynasty. Ram was a king, whereas Krishna was a kingmaker, but never a king himself. Ram lived in exile to fulfill the mission of his incarnation, whereas Krishna moved from place to place, palace to palace, to fulfill his mission. Ram never claimed to be an incarnation, whereas Krishna declared himself to be an incarnation. In fact, he even showed his Virat Roop few times. Ram was worried and confused in his battle with Ravan, whereas Krishna brought a worried and confused Arjuna back to his senses and encouraged him to fight the battle of the Mahabharata. We are very much familiar with that. The arguments which Arjuna made, especially in the first chapter, and he put his bow and arrow down and sat down and he said, I'm not going to wage this war. Ram always carried arms when required and fought the battle with Ravan himself. On the other hand, Krishna never carried arms even when he was expected to do so. Although Krishna was always surrounded by wars, he never fought one himself. Ram always carried a bow and arrow in his hands and fought demons all his life. Krishna always carried a flute in his hands and played music all his life. Another difference, Ram's name is chanted with the name of his legally wedded wife Sita. Krishna's name is not chanted with the name of his legally wedded wife Rukmani. Instead, Krishna's name is chanted with the name of his beloved devotee Radha. Ram's sons lived independently but were crowned by Ram himself. Krishna's sons and grandsons lived close to Krishna, but they were annihilated during the lifetime of Krishna. Ram left behind a prosperous Ayodhya, whereas Krishna left behind Dwarka in ruin. Ram symbolizes the living of a righteous life in the world, whereas Krishna symbolizes the goal of such a life. Whereas Ram is God in the form of a perfect man, Krishna is God himself. Whereas Ram symbolizes the perfect student, whether he studied under Guru Vashishta or Rishi Vishwamitra, perfect student. Krishna symbolizes the perfect Guru, a teacher. of such a student. And the student is who? Arjuna. For these reasons, it's often said, live like Ram and do what Krishna taught. And that's why we study Bhagavad Gita and Ramayana both. We want to learn from these great incarnations. We want to show our respect, but at the same time, not just a mere respect, we want to make a change in our own life also. What do we learn from their lives? What are they teaching us? Whether they are teaching or whether they're living like that. Those are all lessons for us. So this small analysis of the lives of these two great incarnations illustrates the doctrine of unity within diversity, or harmony within differences. Because our mind, material mind, looks at it only differences. But even in these differences, there is a harmony. And we worship both. And this is the major theme of Sanatana Dharma. That is the tradition. And these incarnations come again and again to show us how to live a dharmic life, a spiritual life, not forgetting the goal ever. We'll stop it here and then have some conversation if you have any questions. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnase Purnamadaye Purnameva Vishishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Thank you very much for joining.